Hello everybody, this is Sonnie Badu and you're watching Woman Without Limits. Don't touch that TV. We'll be back.
Don't let what you've done hinder you. Don't you let where you've been hinder you. Don't let what they've said hinder you. Don't you let your past hinder you. You're a woman without limits. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Woman without limits. Yes, you are. There's nothing the enemy can do to stop what God has for you. There's nothing the enemy can do to stop what God has for you.
Baba, we're in your presence. Let it rain. Oh, your rain. Let it fall on me. We're in your presence. Let it rain. Oh, your rain. Let it fall on me. We're in your presence. Let it rain. Oh, your rain. Let it fall on me. We're in your presence. Let it rain. Oh, your rain. Let it fall on me. Open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Baba, open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Oh, 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 hey, hey, hey. Somebody help me sing it. Yeah, yeah.
Baba, we're in your presence. Let it rain.
Oh, your rain.
Oh, your rain.
Let it fall on me.
Let it fall on me.
We're in your presence. Oh,
Let it rain.
oh, let it rain. Oh, let it
Oh,
rain.
your rain.
Oh,
Let it fall on me.
open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Baba, open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Baba, oh,
And good evening, viewers. My name is Reverend Kiuna, and I'm so delighted that you tuned in tonight. Remember, this is Woman Without Limits. I keep telling you, and I tell you again, that you are that woman without limits. Nothing can stop you but you yourself. So you need to get out of your own way. Believe that you are created with everything that you need on the inside of you. You don't need to be made by anybody. God already made you. And so what you need to do is get out of your way and understand that you are a woman without limits. Now, tonight we have an amazing guest, and you know we've been bringing you such powerful, awesome people to come and let you know that they are where they are, but there is a story behind the glory. And so tonight we have this wonderful, amazing man. He's an African multiple award-winning international gospel singer. His name is Minister Sonnie Badu. And you know what? Everybody knows Baba. Oh. You're about to meet the person that not just wrote it, but sang it dangerously. And so tonight, we want to welcome you on set.
Thank you, Reverend.
This is Woman Without Limits.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
And it's good to have you.
It's great to be in Kenya, great to be in JCC. I've had a great time here, and hopefully I'll come back to JCC.
Not hopefully. You must come back.
Yes, I will.
We have absolutely just fallen in love with you. And it's your first time.
Yes, it is.
In Kenya?
Yes, it is. And it wouldn't be the last time. And it feels at home.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Now, we know the story. We know your songs. We sing Arabaribi, we sing all those songs in Kenya. And people really, really love your songs. But you know, we want to know a little about Sonnie Badu. Because before you started singing, maybe you need to tell us how you grew up, you know, where you coming from?
Right. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I think, and my father confirmed it, that I'm a reincarnation of an old prophet that didn't finish his job. And this is the first time I'm saying it on television anywhere in the world. Yeah. And I'm a very spiritual person, so I think out of the box. My parents are Ghanaians, and my father's surname is Ajiman Prempe. Okay. From the Ashanti region, and in Ghana, you know, we have the Western region, Ashanti region, and that's where the Ashanti kingdom comes from. Now, I'm my father's only son.
Oh.
And so I'm supposed to keep that Prempe name to keep my father's generation and legacy going.
Right.
But when it got to me, he changed it from Prempe to Badu. Now, the Badu was his spiritual father, the one who years ago in the 70s would lay hands and miracles would happen. I mean, this man was one of the dangerous people, like the Archbishop Idaho says.
Right.
Yeah, that's the league he was in.
The kind of level.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my father named me after him. Now, growing up now, I had to look back at everything and I realized God had to divert my destiny. Because first of all, would it sound good if you called me Sonnie Prempe? No. You see,
I think Sonnie Badu sounds better.
absolutely. Now that's that. So born in UK, but I was taken back to Ghana to study as African education is really good. Studying it from Africa, which really shaped me up. But when I finished secondary school, I went back to UK, and that's when real life started. Real life. I lived on my own with my sister, and man, that's when I was working here, working for churches, working with churches, and it was no joke. It got to a time I was homeless.
But wait a minute. So what you're saying is that you've been in church practically all your life?
My whole life, I'm a pastor's son.
Right.
So every church politics, every church battle, every church, I know it all.
At the back of your hand?
Yes.
It's all written?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I vowed never to be a pastor because of what my father went through.
And what did you go through as a PK?
Man, They'll mock you. Sometimes you'd see that your father is not at home because he has to be there for the members, and you see how the members don't appreciate him, and you want to spend that time with your father, but he's not there because he's got to be at that all night, and mommy's trying to explain, but you know that you need the father and son. You know he's doing his best when he's working hard for everybody, but you still need that father. And you hear things that members are saying about your father, and you're thinking, but he was there for you guys. And it was an emotional torture. However, he had a way he would make it up to us, which was great.
Right.
But at the age of around 17, 18, I went back to UK and lived on my own, and that's when real challenge started. I was abused by a lot of men of God, abused my gift. They used me to build their churches. But I sit down now and I say thank you, because it was part of the process.
It was part of the process.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that process is actually a part of the? It comes with the package.
Everything goes through a process.
Right.
The cake we eat goes through a process. You've got to take the egg, you've got to take the milk, you've got to take the butter and crush it all.
Preach today.
You can never put an egg and say my cake is ready. No, you've got to crush
And you can't
everything.
eat them one by one.
You cannot take anything out, and sometimes the crushing process is where a lot of us don't want to go through, but you can never have the cake cooked until you've been crushed. And it's not an easy. I mean, I was sleeping in cars in UK.
Tell us about it. Oh my God.
I wrote on Twitter recently, I had one shoe that I was wearing for literally 2 years. And that shoe, the cobbler or shoemaker in West Croydon Station, knew me so well. At a point in time, I got there and he gave me the glue. That don't come here again, just take the glue, fix it. You don't need to come to me.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
It's too much.
Do
You're
it.
even finishing my glue.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he just said, take it. I had one suit I used to wear for 3 years. The tailor knew me because the trouser will rip off, and so they had to get different layers of cloth to just sew it so that it doesn't rip off. And I just had to change ties and shirts. Sometimes I'll leave church hungry and walk 2 hours back home. Now, this is not Africa. Africa, you can go to an auntie's house and you'd get something. This is UK.
UK, nobody has time for
Survival
you.
of the fittest. You're on your own. The month gets there and you don't pay your rent, they'll make you homeless, and it's winter. I was made homeless in winter. I was sleeping in cars.
Are you talking about Sonnie Badu?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I was sleeping in cars, but still leading worship powerfully.
Whoa.
I'll go for all nights from 8 p.m. to the next day 9 a.m. Still leading worship. Sometimes everybody will go and you're just sitting in the church thinking, what would I eat? And you're just praying to God, let somebody just give me £5 to just buy food, £5 to get credit so I can just go to an auntie's house to find something to eat. And you go there and there's no food and you're sitting there thinking, just hurry up with the food so I can get something little to eat. After I got kicked out, I rented a room, and sometimes I'll wait till everybody's sleeping and I'll sneak into the fridge and steal food.
Oh my God.
But yeah.
Talk to us.
Yeah. I've been through so much.
Did your parents know about it?
Why would I tell them?
Because it's your process, it's not theirs.
It is my process, and they did everything to get me where I am.
Did you understand the process, or you just took it in your stride?
At that time, I didn't, but this is it. In the midst of the pain, there was this joy.
Hey!
I can't explain it. One of the Sundays, one of the elders had to take me to church. And that was the day they had promised to pay us. I was not too bothered with the money. I just wanted to lead worship. Because those times, people will get healed and they'll be testifying. So I just wanted to go. So this man got angry at me that I was late, and he left, and I had to walk 2 hours to church. Now, this is London, not Africa.
Yeah. Even the places to walk.
Then it started raining. And I remember walking in the rain for 2 hours. And you would see me drenched wet, but between me and God, I felt so dry. Nothing wet me up, and I felt so good inside, and I kept on singing and worshiping. In fact, when I got to church, I said, let's do this again. So in the pain, there is also this comfort that he gives you.
Right.
He never leaves you. Sometimes we're thinking, God, where are you? But the teacher never talks when the student is writing the exams.
Preach to this.
So when it's exams time, the teacher keeps quiet
Right.
and guides you. That's when Jesus was saying, my God, why have thou forsaken me? For the first time his father kept quiet, because that was the test.
He was doing the exam.
No test, no testimony.
Right.
And so I've been in ministry. This year is my 20th year. I've been in the high. I only shot up 6 years ago.
Wait, so you started ministry when you were really young?
Very young. I've known nothing outside the church. Very, very young. Very, very young.
Did you ever get tempted to run away? Did you ever get tempted, like, to forget it, to throw in the towel?
Music, it runs in my family. So I was always attracted around music. And music became a comfort zone. So that became my place of, that runaway place.
Yeah.
And I've been through so much. I've been through so much, but thank God I'm here now.
Now, when Jesus came on earth, Jesus selected 12 disciples that he would work with. Jesus selected 12 disciples, and amongst the 12 disciples, there were medical doctors that saying, look, it has a medical background. But amongst the 12, the Apostle John, as Bible scholars would say, was the favorite of Jesus. How was he the favorite of Jesus? I believe he was the worshiper amongst the disciples. How was he the worshiper amongst the disciples? All the 12 disciples were very used to all the miracles that Jesus performed. So it became the norm for them every time he turned water into wine and he opened the blind eye. But every time that he did that miracle, when other disciples were walking away, the Apostle John will go back to Jesus and ask him how he did this and give him worship right there. The Apostle John is the only disciple that died a natural death. He is the only disciple that died a natural death. Number two, he is the only disciple that Jesus, when he was on the cross, left his mother Mary to. Jesus handed his mother Mary to. Now follow me. The Apostle John kept on talking about Jesus until they sent him onto the island of Patmos on an exile. They wanted to stop him from talking about Jesus. But what they didn't know was it was a setup for an encounter. I don't know who has put you apart. I don't know who has sent you on a spiritual exile. But tonight I prophesy on you. Let there be a setup for a divine encounter. Let there be a setup for a divine encounter. And so whilst John was in exile, still talking about Jesus, still proclaiming about the name of the Lord, he had an encounter. Somebody tonight will have an encounter. You didn't say a louder amen. Somebody tonight will have an encounter. Somebody shout encounter. So please read with me.
Verse 10. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. And heard behind me a great voice.
John said, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. I, John, was in the spirit on the Lord's day. May I suggest to you that there are some days that you must take out of the week and be spiritual. A lot of us, the only reason that why we're not encountering God anymore is we walk too much on the flesh. We concentrate too much on social media. We concentrate too much on Instagram. And so we don't have time to seek the face of God. May I suggest to somebody right here, if you can take a day out, shut everything out and begin to seek the face of God, you shall have an encounter. Somebody say encounter. Somebody shout encounter. And so John said, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. And what happened?
and heard behind me a great voice.
And then when I was in the spirit, I heard behind me a loud voice, a great voice. And what does the voice sound like? Turn up. What does the voice sound like?
As of a trumpet.
So the voice that I heard sounded like what? A trumpet. Keep going.
Saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last.
Yes.
And what thou seest,
Yes.
write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia.
So all that John was doing was he was in the spirit, fasting, waiting on the Lord, and then he heard something like this. The voice, John says, sounded like a trumpet. Now, if John was in the spirit, he wouldn't have had the ear to understand what the voice is saying. And so John was in the spirit, and then a voice now opened behind the trumpet and began to tell him who was speaking to him. My question is, didn't John know who Jesus was? Yes, John did, but we cannot be too familiar with his presence. He can show up in a pillar of cloud today and tomorrow show up in a pillar of fire. And so every time Jesus encounters you, never be too familiar. That is the problem we have in the church. We expect him to move this way, but he wants to move that way. And that's why in the end time we are not seeing major miracles in the church, because we're too used to him. And so Jesus said, I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the Alpha and Omega. Tonight, may the Alpha and Omega reveal himself to you. My God, you didn't hear me. The one who shouts the louder hallelujah. I see the Alpha and Omega revealing himself to you. I am the Alpha. I am the Omega. In other words, I am the beginning of life and the end of life. Before life began, I was there. And before life will end, I will be there. I am the first and the last. Tonight, any demonic power that is working against you, may the Alpha and Omega reintroduce himself to that situation. I am your healer. I am your doctor. I am your lawyer. I am your deliverer. Somebody shout deliverer. Can I be myself tonight?
with your voice and when you how did you step out on your own now from the church, or were you still a worship leader when you started singing your own songs?
This advice will go to a lot of men of God, because there are two sets of worship leaders. There's one that God has created for the world, but you are supposed to take care of them, and there's one that's for the church. They're not for the world, but a lot of them sit on those who are for the world and refuse to let you go out because they're scared of losing you. So I remember when I wanted to start traveling, my then pastor was like, no, God hasn't told me you can't go. And I looked at him, oh God, forgive me, but I said, I'm going. Because I felt God said it was time. And I left and never looked back, and this is the story. He looks at me now, we chat, we're like best friends. It's like, I thank God that you resisted and you went. That doesn't mean get up and go if God hasn't spoken to you. You would hear his voice. I can proudly say I know God's voice. Sometimes I give him high fives. Sometimes we chat to each other. Sometimes you're like, ooh, that was you.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's like, I just embarrassed you right there.
Yeah.
My team will tell you, my band will tell you, even before any concert, they would ask me, what are we doing? And then they'll say, well, he'll tell you God has not spoken. I could put 50 songs together and we get on stage and I look at them and say, sorry, God changed the songs.
We are not even doing one of
We're
them.
not going to touch it. They know. Anybody that works with me knows. When they ask me a question, the next thing I'll tell them is, let me speak to God. And my wife will tell you, let him talk to God. And then within seconds, God will tell me, do it this way, turn this way, do this, and do that. And it's just amazing being a friend of God.
So what you're saying, Minister Sonnie, is that when you now started, when you stepped out, it took you how many years for you? You're saying it's only 6 years ago. So it took you how long to be even known?
It took me 6 years. Now, I've been out 6 years, but over 15 years of preparation. The depth of your foundation.
No. How many years of preparation again?
Over 15 years.
Your 15 years
Now,
of preparation.
Hear
Because
this.
there's so many that sing one song and they're out.
Hear this. The depth of your foundation will always determine how high your building will be. When you see these skyscrapers all over the city, it takes years for the foundation to be built. And so, based on what they've built, they're able to move it as high as they can. So, a longer preparation would mean God is going to shoot you high so much that wherever anybody is, they can see you. So those who are quick enough to run out of when they do one song, you're just local champions. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to be under any covering. You don't want to be mentored. You don't want to serve. Social media has made you feel you're a star. You ain't no star. There's so much that goes into preparation. God has to tear up your emotions. God has to look at someone and make sure they hurt you. God has to teach you how to deal with hurt and pain. God has to work with your psychology. God has to sit you down. God has to put you on fast. Like for me, even if I don't decide to fast, he will put me on a fast based on where I'm going. I was in Wellingborough just last week in London, outside London, and the cook that they had there, I made their job useless because I didn't eat all 4 days. Why? God said, don't eat. And I didn't touch anything. So you get to that place where he orders your step. Why haven't you been to Kenya? We've had a lot of invitations. A lot. But when I heard God's voice, I said, we're going. And that's why I'm here.
Wow.
And everything around shows that this is God ordained.
That you should definitely be here. And that you're stuck.
Yes. I'm in love with Kenya and JCC.
Oh, we love you so much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the ministry last night was, what was that? Before we get even to that, 6 years ago, there was a boom. What happened?
Now, God, in that process, trains you to be sensitive. Because a lot of us miss our miracle because we're not sensitive. We miss it. God could use a little boy to speak to you and you will be so amazed. So let me give you this scenario.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen my song, Covenant Keeping God. There is no one like
How
you.
do I love it? How do I lead it?
Okay,
You know?
okay. Now, within the 15 years, I was serving this man of God, and he had a little son, and I was taking care of that son. And then we were in the house, and then I was making sure this little boy sleeps. This is some time back.
Right.
Then when he was sleeping, I was just sitting below the bed, by the bedside, and then I heard him singing, Covenant Keeping God, there is no one like you, Alpha and Omega. The boy was about 7 years old. There is no one like you. And God told me, listen to him. You're going to sing this song in your first album, and it's going to be a hit.
The little boy
The little boy.
was just singing the song
His name is Elian.
just like that.
Just like that. And I was by the bed crying because God opened my eye to see that out of the mouth of babies and sucklings he has ordained praise. And I saw how God was taking that worship.
Thank you, Jesus.
And so I was just in tears. And God said, remember this. Now, hear this. When we were recording my first album, Lost in His Glory, we had finished recording everything. We knew that Baba would be a hit. But, so the engineer said, okay, we're done. Thank God, everything is okay. And I said, one more song. They said, no, let's not do it. I said, let's do Covenant Keeping God. I need to do it. But I don't have lyrics. I haven't written anything. They said, there we go, so we can't do it. I said, okay, Isaac, just touch the keyboard. I went into the studio and then started, your name is Jehovah, your name is Elohim. That's how that song came.
Hey!
And that was the announcer.
Ooh!
The whole world grabbed. Now, Covenant Keeping God is an old traditional Nigerian song. But what made it powerful was what I added, what God gave me to add to it.
Right.
It gave that song a whole meaning.
Yes.
And then he gave me a voice to sing it. So everybody can sing it, but when Sonnie sings it,
It's a different song
different.
altogether.
that's the identity God gives you through the process. You discover your identity. You discover that place that you sing and it hits God.
Ooh.
You know that that's me and you right there because
Right.
you feel it right back.
Yeah.
That you hit him. You feel it. I mean, there's some of the days before I go into a concert, you come into my room and I'm laying there crying. And one of the days God came into my room and said, thank you. And I said, no, thank you. He said, no, thank you. I wept for an hour. He said, I missed this challenging generation of yours. You've stayed true to your calling. There's so encountering God. I could preach a whole sermon.
One encounter after another another.
Yeah.
Has that kept you more humble?
Humility was my promise to God. A lot of people get prideful when they see money, but I've seen it all. Now let me tell you where pride sets in.
Yes.
So in the process of the 15 years, I became one of the youngest property investors in South London. Very young, in my 20s, but very rich. Very rich. Matter of fact, we're three. We're called Mighty 3 Investments. We bought literally, I think about 17 houses all over London.
In your 20s?
In my 20s.
Okay.
The Jaguar I had, I was literally the only black African that had it in that area with my name Badu. That was when pride hit me. So when we would go to a church and literally take out $10,000, 10,000 pounds and just bless the church, buy instruments and just walk away. I wouldn't turn up in church on time because I was a property investor. We had every car. Our address, the office was, you didn't have a postcode for the office. When you say the Orangery, any postmaster will send you there. This was in Carshalton.
Yes.
And this area is a very posh area.
Right.
I've seen those times when I was going on holiday, I would have over 60,000 pounds in my pocket just to spend. Now, a man met my wife recently and was telling my wife those times what I used to do. I would get a car and just give it to someone and say, I feel like blessing you. I've given out cars more than I can think. Then I lost everything.
Because of pride. Please, my God, you know what? Do you know we had to do this program? Because I know somebody out there is getting delivered. You know, pride has brought so many people down, and especially musicians and singers, and is still bringing them down even now. First and foremost, musicians and singers don't like to submit, and they do, I mean, once they make a little money, nobody can touch them. So you start coming down.
I lost everything. Everything.
Abide with me. Fast full stay in time. The darkness dissipates, and Lord with me abide. And when other pass the failing comfort flees, help of the soul abide with me. Abide with me. Abide with me. Fast falls the evening time. The darkness deepens, and Lord with me abide. And when others pass the veil and comfort flee, oh, help of the blessed soul, come on and abide with me. He turns around, and the Alpha and Omega decides to change himself. The unchangeable changer does everything and anything he wants to do. From tonight, I see the changer of the universe. I see the creator of the universe changing some situations in your life. Let them look down at you, but from tomorrow morning, they'll be looking up to you, because God is about to change certain things in your life. Somebody shall let there be a change. Okay, keep going. I'm getting to myself now. Keep going.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
Okay, take your time. So when he sees this presence, he doesn't see a trumpet now. So he begins to attempt to describe what he's seen this time. And this time he sees a man clothed down to his foot and girded about with a golden girdle. It looked golden, beautiful. And describe him for me.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Now, his head and his hair, not just the hair, but his head, the face and hair was white like wool. And what happens?
As white as snow.
It was so white and it looked like snow. And what happens?
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
When I tried to look into his eyes, I realized that he is the consuming fire. Fire came through his eye. I could not stand this presence. As he looked at me, all I could see was fire burning. Tonight, any demon that would look at you, may I direct them to the fire of God. Somebody shout fire. Somebody shout a louder fire. Come on, read with me. And what happens?
And his feet like unto fine brass, as
And when I look down at his feet, it looked like a fine brass, as if it's just been put through the furnace. Keep going.
as if they burned into a furnace, and his voice as the
Sounded
sound
like
of many waters.
Now, he was speaking through a trumpet. And when I turned to him and he showed me this image, he decided to sound like the peaceful water. When peace like a river turned my way, he now spoke to me in the voice of peace. Water represents peace. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Every green pasture has a river flowing. So I didn't hear a trumpet anymore. All I could hear was water. I could hear the sea. I could hear the river. May the peace of God locate everybody here under the sound of my voice. Somebody shout peace. And what happens? Come on.
And he had in his right hand
Yes.
7 stars.
Yes.
And out of his mouth
Yes.
went a sharp two-edged sword.
Yes.
And his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength.
His countenance, his demeanor looked like the sun shining in its full strength. Oh my God, may you reveal yourself to us tonight. When John looked at him, his eyes began to blink because the light that was shining, and it was the fire that radiated light. And so what does John do when John sees this person come? What does John do? Read it.
And when I saw him,
When I saw him,
I fell at his feet as dead.
John said, come over. When I saw him, I fell at his feet.
As dead.
I fell. Lay down, oh God. John said, and when I saw this light, I could not stand this light. Who can stand the presence of God? Who are you to stand his presence? Some of you during worship time, you put your hands in your pocket like you own the whole world. When John had an encounter, life left him. He said, when I saw this, I became lifeless. Life left me. And so I fell like the dead in the presence of God. When his presence shows up, you dare not stand. I need thy presence. Set every passing walked by thy grace can foil this tempest power. And who like thyself, my guidance stay can be through cloud and sunshine, Lord. Come on and abide with, bring it up, me, hey, abide.
Ladies, you are welcome to the Daughters of Zion. Remember, it's on the 26th of September, starting at 1 o'clock, right opposite Premier Academy on Forest Road. Every woman is invited. Come from all walks of life. I have a word for you. Be there.
but thy grace can foil this tempest. There is healing in this building right now. And who like thyself, my guidance stay can be. Hey, through cloud and sunshine. Guide me, oh, thy great Jehovah. Pilgrim through this barren land. I am weak, but thou art mighty. Hold me with thy powerful